I'll call it a credit score for the creator, because for a brand, if they're thinking, are the clicks real? Are the views real? Right? And because we can see all that, we can do it. And on that data, you can build different things. For example, we run a lot of their merch, so we can see all this data on e-commerce as an example. And let's say that we're also trying to incubate these creators as brands and businesses. And so the idea there is that you could use some of this credit score as a basis for example, crowdfunding, right? Where you could, so if somebody's saying, oh, I want to invest in this creator, I think they're doing great, but is their business real? Is the data real? And by doing that on-chain, we can basically have this kind of immutable ledger of them and what they're doing. And then that can go into what we believe, moving forward is like a crowdfunding model where basically they can go in. Your investment model is tied to a smart contract that basically ties to the investment, and you see, if you're an investor, you see the data and what it's doing, and if they promise you a return, it basically can guarantee that return based on what the contract says. And so I think that's where we're seeing it going, but we're much about kind of the business plumbing of how a creator works and being able to take the data from all their different platforms. And because we're helping them really in Web 2 platforms to kind of push their content, create their content, manage their content, we can then take all that data if they opt into that, and they will, because, hey, I want to raise money, I want to get brand deals. Well, I'm going to be much more credible than the guy or girl that doesn't do that. And that's kind of where we see tying in, Web3 into the creator economy.
I love it, and I would love to take it a step further too, because when you build an audience on a sort of open social graph where you own more of your data, and you think about crypto as a whole being Lego blocks to one another, and you just continuously build experiences on a protocol, and that gets built on top of another protocol, and so on and so on and so forth. Imagine being able to take your social graph that you built on Lens, for example, and being able to take a loan on Aave based on how good your social reputation is, right? So now you're entering a whole new world of finance, a whole new world of building audiences, a whole new world of reputation that just doesn't exist in Web 2. Because right now we're dependent on the credit system, right? And you have to have a good credit score to take out loans from the bank. And you have to play by the rules, play by the game to ultimately get out of the rat race. But I don't know, there's a... Yeah, go ahead.
Even imagine if your content that you create, like what piece of content, that NFT, carries enough value to be able to take a loan out against that.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's really not that far-fetched. Like, what's the difference between finding a piece of art valuable and finding a social media post valuable? They're both files, they're both pieces of media, and now with NFTs, they can be owned. So, it feels like a far bridge right now, but, we've seen crypto art from 2018 to 2021 go from $50,000 in volume a year to $2 billion, right? I don't think anyone expected that. You're seeing music go from $1 million in 21 to 30 million in 2022. So obviously a much smaller market, but it's just kind of expanding more and more to these other verticals, right? It's going into writing, it's going into videos, it's going into all these different things. So yeah, imagine